Hello and welcome to another edition of Glebe TV. My name's Pete and today I'm going to talk to you about summer flowering bulbs. I want to say about how we start them off and the benefits. Okay, so first of all I want to talk to you about begonias. These weird looking things. They make fabulous patio displays, often outdoing most other summer flowering plants. Very easy to handle, as you can see. Just got to make sure you plant them the right side up. So if you look, there's a hollow there as opposed to a round bottom. It goes that way up, so a hollow end up, and often you can see a tiny shoot just starting to form. Begonias are best grown on the patio in troughs, containers or hanging baskets, but at all times make sure they are always kept moist. Avoid them going dry because they won't like that. Now what I want to try is just show you how easy it is just to pot these up, and it's just a matter of getting a 5-inch pot, filling it with compost, a good multi-purpose, rich multi-purpose, and as you can see all I'm going to do is almost like push it into the surface, because what I want to do is not bury it but just make sure there's just good contact, and that's all we need to do. After that, water it, pop it into a tray, and then put a propagator lid over the top, like so, and then put that into a nice warm room for several weeks. These must have an initial burst of heat just to stimulate growth. Once they're starting to grow, then you can take the lid off and just let them grow naturally. But at all times they need to be kept in a light, frost-free position, but out of direct hot light. Now, like with all summer flowering plants, they must be kept frost-free, so that means planting at about mid-May, I would say. Probably get away a little bit earlier, depending on the season. Regularly feed with tomato feed, and that'll keep them flowering right until October. So the real advantage of starting the bulbs off now is you'll gain probably 6 weeks of flower, and you will start the sort of the bedding plant time off with a good established plant rather than a tiny plant. Right, next up, gladioli. Gladioli make fantastic cut flowers. Often in the shops they're quite expensive, but really they are easy to grow, and no reason why you shouldn't be able to grow them in your garden. This is a gladioli bulb. Now, as opposed to a begonia, we've got a hollow end and a pointy end, and it's the pointy end that goes up this time. Okay, now what we need to be doing is get a 4-inch pot, half fill it, gladioli bulb in, and cover. And that's all you need to do. Pop it into a tray, water, and again cover with a propagator lid. Put it into a warm room again for several weeks just to stimulate that growth. Like the begonias previously, plant out from about mid-May when the chance of frost has gone, and with gladiola I find it best to plant into clumps and they'll support each other. Now if the height is a concern to you, we do have shorter varieties that grow to about 2 foot. Exactly the same type of flower but just shorter. Right, last of all I want to talk briefly about dahlias. These funny tuberous looking things, they make fantastic blooms, and they produce some of the best blooms in the garden and offer great value for money. Now, like with the begonias and the gladiolis, you could just pop that into a pot and start it off. But what I want to show you is a way of sort of propagating more plants from this tuber. And that is by getting a seed tray, a deep one ideally, and filling it with compost, and then just laying your tubers, pointy end up, just roughly lay them into a seed tray, just like that. Give it a water, and then, like previously, put a propagator lid on. Now what you're going to be doing here is you're going to be encouraging these tubers into growth, and after about 2 weeks you'll start to see shoots appearing from the tubers, quite a few shoots. And when they're about 3 inches long, what I'm going to ask you to do is sever those shoots away from the parent plant, taking a slither of the parent plant with it, and then potting them into a 3-inch pot, maybe 4 or 5 cuttings around the edge of the pot, about 1 inch deep. It's possibly best to use hormone rooting powder at the time, and then, like previously, pop that pot into a propagator, and those cuttings will root and you'll produce further plants inexpensively. So after 3 or 4 weeks, this pot full of cuttings will have rooted, and then what you'll need to do is gently tease apart the cuttings and put them into separate pots and grow them on. And then sort of come mid-May, it's safe to plant those out. And what you've achieved is, from your parent plant, you might have got 6 more plants, which you can then put into your garden. And all these will produce fabulous blooms. Thank you for listening. If you need any further advice, don't hesitate to come in store or give me a ring or email. Thank you.